All right, any takers again before we hop in? Anyone wants to share their pre-week analysis process? Going twice, going once. Sold to no one. Guys, there's no need to be shy about your pre-week analysis because it's just your thoughts and you're entitled to think whatever. So it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. I think it helps us more just to get a process outline done. But since everyone is shy, let's go ahead and DXY weekly. Haven't looked at this in a while. In case you're wondering, vertical lines are quarterly opens. So what do we have here? We have a huge fair value gap on the weekly chart. Right there for DXY. We can see that we traded down into it after rating previous week's high. So we had a run on previous week's data here. Then we had a market structure shift right here. So now the points of focus are going to be fair value gap low right here. Put that there. That's going to be point of interest. Just add some other persons. High of the fair value gap inside there. And next most important thing is going to be this week's high right here. So this is now the range of opportunity for me for trading this week. No need to look higher. I mean, we can drop to a daily chart to look higher. But I don't think there's anything on a daily chart. But let's get rid of the idea of what we think and just look at what we have. So here's this week's high. We had a run, stop staking. We had a break below here. Do we have anything inside this price leg that would warrant price coming back up? After we took this low here, shallow retracement, displacement. Lots of relatively equal highs inside here. So in that case, this can be the high of the week. This can be the high of the week right here. Then price tanks. In terms of what we have here, this huge fair value gap. Let's put that over here. Bam. This huge fair value gap is very much open. So if we get the market trading down into that fair value gap anytime this week, which we already did last week, I'd want to see if we have a willingness to probably tap that 105 area again, and then I'll make a more informed decision. But for this week, I like the idea of weekly high, weekly low inside here. If we close above this before Wednesday, my bias changes. So in a perfect world, which we don't live in a perfect world, we have Monday trading here, either not taking these or just resting right there as well. And then we have Tuesday inside here, maybe in London and New York, creates a big displacement down. I would like that. That's what my ideal week would look like. Going below here before going higher, I don't like that. So everything I'm saying right now is subjective to the fact that I want to see this here first before going down here. If it goes below here before this, not interested in this analysis process anymore. So if this, then that. So with that in mind, I'm going to, sorry about that, look at a couple of other pairs and frame out what is possible based on that process. AU weekly, AU seasonal this time of the year are suggested to be bearish. Previous quarter, we had high, low, right there. We're below previous highs, previous quarters low at the moment. Rated, retraced, rated again. I don't know what these two red lines are for. So it's a while since I did this. Okay, so we have a weekly fair value gap tagged, closed above. So deeper retracements looks nice. Now, in a condition like this where we have the quarter suggested as being bearish and the markets just tapped a fair value gap and rejected it like this, for me, I'm thinking consolidation for the rest of the week. And we have this range from here down to here as the range in which we can consolidate. But even when the markets consolidate thin, it's not doing nothing. So we still have to find logical targets that we could look at for consolidation. Up inside here looks good. We had this being the last time we traded above previous weekly high. All down here, these are all failure swings. We have a huge weekly imbalance up here. Not huge, but it's there. It's a weekly one, so it's probably huge on a daily chart. All these weekly imbalance up here, all these weekly highs. This was a recent shift. So since all of this is the first time we've had a trade above a weekly high. So now, if I suggest that DXY, or I believe that DXY could be bullish Monday and Tuesday, it opens the door for this guy trading at most to this red line. We could sweep this right here and then scream, and that would be very good. If that happens, I'm bullish AU. But it's Sunday, we don't have Monday's range yet. It's never a good idea to commit if the market is in 50-50 conditions. 50-50 because we're so close to the highs, it could raid the highs and that would be the end of it. And then we retrace. Or you could get down here. Now I would like down here first and then higher. Since this is now a short-term failure swing or a short-term swing high. Trading lower and higher. Refining to daily chart. We have this being the daily highs that were broken to shift market structure. We can see a small fair value gap inside here. Market trades down into it, didn't completely fill it, perfectly fine again. How far away is that? Let's say 60 pips. AU can have a 60 pip day, that's fine. So we already opened a small gap. Asian highs in here and then down here. I like that. That's what I like. But it's Monday, so I'm still waiting for New York and where we are at New York before I make any decisions. But that's what I'm looking forward to right now. Some imbalances inside here, as you can see, where this candle closed is not where this candle opened. And then we just went higher. So that is a nice downside target. And that looks more realistic for a weekly low. It's 120 points, yeah. So that and then trading higher is fine. And then it could look like NAS daily with that failure swing, then a drop, then a push again to take this high. That looks nice. I like that idea for AU. This animal here. Weekly chart is a tad bit messy. We just tapped 1700 big figure. Lots of relatively equal lows in here, including a monthly low. I don't even want to look at gold. I want to stay away from it. But because my bias on DXY is bearish, there's a whole lot of sentiment building up now, which is likely to yeah, gold is an animal. I'm not going to lie. Even with these eyes, gold is an animal. The thing about gold that I don't like a lot when my bias on DXY is not very clear, gold has a tendency to move with DXY on sentiment. So usually we have bullish DXY and we assume that gold is going to trade short. But then with sentiment and some kind of fundamental risk somewhere in the world, we have gold bullish, DXY bullish, and nothing will save you, not even your stop loss. Market screams through that. So in terms of liquidity target, looking for imbalances and possible stop ons, the last thing we did was we had a stop on the low. So this fractal now suggests to me if gold trades through this high and retraces, we could get a push to fill in all of this. And that would be nice. The low of this candle here is 1784. So that's nice. Retracing here and then pushing to this is good, in my opinion. And that suggests my bias for it supports my bias for the XY. Low, accumulate, and then push. From a daily perspective, reason to go low. Daily order block. Previous day's low, which is resting at 1712. Okay, fairly close. Opening price of this candle is, what's that? 1711. So 1710, 1708, 1709 area, go low of the week. I like that. And then I rally to clear out all of these highs inside here. This high would be very good as well. And then we could start thinking about selling off again from here. I like that. Naz, my darling. See what's in the chat. Yes, that's what it is, order pairing. Naz weekly chart looks bullish, full stop. Swing low created, swing low rated. Usually most persons would consider this bullish, but this is a fractal that I like to see, especially in particular to the fact that we have imbalance here. We accumulate around the imbalance, and now we're pushing higher. Normally, when we accumulate and then push, I assume that that first push is a Judas, ICT Judas, or a failure swing. But because of how this structure is right now, every part of me is saying that this is bullish. I'm looking at the last time we had a stop onto the downside, which would have been this day. Taking out this day's low, I assume. Actually, no, it didn't. So the last time we had a stop onto the downside was all the way down here. Now, I haven't checked the economic calendar yet, which is something you probably should do when you're trying to frame which day creates the highest probability for a higher or low of the week. Whichever day has the most volatility tends to do that. But I haven't done that as yet. So with that in mind, we have fair value gap inside here now. That's still open because the day hasn't closed. How far away is this candle's opening price? 300 points. Nas moving 300 points in 2 days to frame the low of the week. That's fine. My bias for DXY is bullish for the first part of the week. So this trading low is fine. To the order block, to this low, perfectly fine. I'll make my next decision at New York tomorrow. But for right now, I'm thinking, let's go lower first. And then we could start thinking about some upside runs. 2 relatively equal highs right here. This high was a stop point. Then we left that. Then we left that. Now we're creating buy side, in my opinion. So I'm liking that. Time to remove these lines. These were my targets before. I think I did this in a call some time ago. Both targets have now been met. So I'm going to move this to keep, it's not behaving. To keep this sign on my radar now. That area, 13.5. 13,500 flat for institutional levels and then maybe a wick above here. Perfectly fine. Wick into a fair value gap and then just play around inside that range. I'm perfectly fine with that. So that's what I want to see for this week. And given that this is a weekly chart and it can take a while, I'm going to keep that on my mind for the next 2 weeks. I think, I was checking the calendar real quick. This is the last week of the month. Then the new week starts next week. So we could, everything I'm saying here could be an entire 2-week move to play out. But as far as directional bias and points that I'm going to be looking for, those are those, if that's grammatically sound. From a daily chart perspective, do we have a reason to see NAS going lower? Fair value gap. These highs are still intact. I always like to see when prices trading towards an obvious higher time frame objective, fails, then retraces to a higher time frame fair value gap. That usually puts into perspective a big push coming next. So here and then, that I like that. I really like that idea. Maybe all the way up into here, and we could start factoring some sensitivity right around. All right, so everything is playing out nicely. That 13.5 level plays in nicely with the fact that this imbalance right here could be sensitive. So from a pre-week perspective, this is all I would do for pre-week. Higher time frame draws, higher time frame price levels to focus on, and then I just structure my intraday trading around that. So if I get my short, so let's say New York creates a lot of liquidity, or let me not say that. Let's say we're at New York tomorrow, London was bullish, and there's a whole lot of lows or higher lows resting based on London's delivery. Then I like going short in New York. If it trades down and we have a really big day and we get to the objective here and it's failing to close below, then if I get a long setup on Monday, I'm going to go break even when it moves away. I'm not going to risk Tuesday taking me out for a stop. If Tuesday takes me out at break even, I can live with that and then reposition myself sometime Tuesday to go long. And then that I will hold for a nice push. But remember, when we were here, I had said something along the lines of when we retrace here, we could start expecting 2,000 point rallies. Did we get that as yet? Pretty close. So retracement and then a push. I like that. And I want to be on the long side of this, but I just need to wait for it to push up. My bias obviously changes if there's anything economic related. You know, there's really no way to do a lot of forecasting for NAS because companies can have whatever day, whatever bad day, and this guy just goes crazy. So those are things to keep in mind to invalidate my idea. If we get down here, I like to see it not go as deep as this. Maybe this fair value gap is fine. Maybe 12,000 flat is fine. So inside the opening price of this to that low here, short-term low and then a stop point being formed inside there, perfectly fine for me. So that's how I'm going to approach the next 2 weeks. Can we create support ideas inside here to push higher? Failing to do that, and I'm gone. In particular, if I have any day that's bullish, closing below this candle's opening price, then I'm not bullish anymore. I don't like bullish candles closing below bullish invalidation points. That's right. That right there is something to think about. If I'm bullish here in this range and a down candle closes a little bit below here, I'm perfectly fine because I'm thinking now that that could be daily order block. Trade above, TAM, go, fine. Being bullish here and we have a bullish candle or a bullish day closing below here, that's telling me retracement ideas to go low because bullish candles should close above bullish confirmation points, not below them. That's not bullish. So that's my pre-week process. I just want to see where the week closes to see if it opens, sorry, to see if there's any imbalances, where are the higher time frame levels to focus on for the week. And I want to see Monday's range. That's it for me. Anybody else want to add something? Everybody's quiet as usual. All right, so if nobody has anything else to add, we'll talk in the group. What are, so I guess somebody's asking what are my invalidation points? An invalidation points is, or an invalidation point is anywhere you consider your trade idea wrong. So let's say And I don't know, let's grab this. This is that thing that I'm going to try to use whenever I'm doing other calls in the week. I'm only going to try to use these daily charts here since we started with them. So let's say we're looking at this, and I was thinking that I'm bullish. There's a huge impulse that broke a high with a displacement. This is a bullish validation point, right? So if we come back here and it fails to close, I'm good with going long. We come back here and we close below, then I'm short. Now, one thing to take away from all of this madness is if I have a point where I want to be bullish and it gets invalidated, when it closes below here, I'm not going to short the next candle. I'm simply going to look at the range, the bearish signatures, and where are the levels that I could get an entry. So can we close below here, then retrace? Yes. If it's going to retrace, where am I going to look? Find my dealing range, find my, you know, the good stuff, ICT, 50%, all that good stuff, premium discount, and my imbalances, and then I go short. That's the idea. So I actually shorted this here and somewhere in here again. I just saw a question in the chat. You frame this idea based on, for example, if you want to see price go up initially, would see it go down, then go to your idea. So a part of the paradigm shift I got from ICT and the experience is that never be afraid of stop points in, or let's say sell side liquidity runs when you're bullish. I'm perfectly fine with that. So if I'm bullish and I'm seeing relatively equal lows, okay, they could take this. You know, there are a couple things that I can factor in to determine when it's higher probability based on where they are in the range. But yeah, when you're bullish, especially on a weekly basis, it's not often that the week opens when it's bullish and it just screams higher every single day. I don't think there's anything from a fundamental perspective right now that would suggest heavy sentiment like that. Market just going to open and scream higher nonstop, no retracement. Can happen, but I don't see that right now. There's no market condition that support it. No large volatility injection. There's no quarterly expiration. There's no quarterly shift impending right now. So that kind of volatility is not to be expected. So that's kind of how I look at it. But yeah, guess that's all the questions. See you guys in the chat, and maybe see you guys at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. See what we can find. Enjoy the rest of your week, and still feel free to share your charts in the group, guys. It's a community for that reason. It's not listen to Kishane talk. You're gonna do a live trade tomorrow. I'll do live analysis. There's no promises that I'm going to do a live trade. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Practicing a demo account. USD Cad analysis, and then we get out of here. Somebody unmute to speak, or somebody just join. Which is it? Not sure. Chat. Yeah, guys. At the end of the day, I have to remember that we just want to see more people winning. That's all. That is it. Nice, John. All right, so weekly chart for USD Cad. It's very choppy. We had a run on previous week here. Buy side taken. Did this run down, take sell side. We broke through two levels of sell side here, and it pulled off. So this is like a daily retracement. So now I'm looking for a bearish order block on a daily chart inside here when we get there. Let's see if we can find that, and then that would set up where I think UCAD would trade to if I was trading UCAD. Now this looks a little bit different because the first thing that's jumping out at me is where could this retrace to? Inside here is all imbalances. Imbalance here, then imbalance here again. This has to be a draw. Or what I think I understand is fundamentally flawed. This has to be a draw. This has to be close to where the high of the week is going to form. If this is going to also be a bearish week and my analysis for DXY is correct, then UCAD should do something similar. Trade up to here, high of the week, tank. But for right now, I'm looking at this imbalance inside here. A lot of choppy stuff in here, so we could get wicks. We could get wicks inside here as high as that. I'd be looking for as high as this. 80 points. 2 days, 80 points shouldn't be bad. So yeah, I'd be looking up here for UCAD. And then we could not necessarily trade through here again, but we could trade low after this. I'd like that. Even though I'm not going to be trading UCAD, but I might for the culture. Any of these analysis play out the way I want them to, I'll take them for the culture. For the culture, yeah. All right, guys. It's gonna be it for this one. Enjoy the rest of the week. Wait. Somebody's have a question. I think Nate, I recognize that name. Can message me in the chat. So let's end this one and not let it have it too drawn out. Just send a message in the chat in the group. All right. All right. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share with your friends, guys. Let's grow the community. Yes. All the good stuff. You know. FEG and 4 hour. I don't look at 4 hour charts. I don't think it's necessary. Pointless. Toodles.